Hey, I'm Tiff.
I'm Deshari.
And together we are
TNT.
And on this episode of Desert Birkenstock,
we are answering your questions.
Can we just take a second to thank our YouTube channel followers and viewers and subscribers, and we just love you guys so much, so we just wanted to take a second.
Guys rock.
I
couldn't even contain it. Sorry.
It's so exciting.
You guys rock. We totally appreciate it, and we cannot wait to answer whatever questions you throw at us.
It's super exciting. So we're more than halfway to our goal of 1,000 subscribers, so thank you to everyone who has subscribed.
Tell a friend, and then tell a friend to tell a friend, and then tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend, and let's keep the cycle going.
Absolutely. So thank you so much for the over 120,000 views I think we have on one of our videos. You guys are awesome. So we're gonna get to these questions and we'll be right back.
Today we are taking questions from our YouTubers, and today is from Ellie Hope. What happens if you get them wet?
Well, first things first, try and remove as much of the excess moisture as you possibly can with a towel, okay? And then just let them air dry.
Please don't help them dry. No heat.
No blow dryers. Do not put them in the sun. Just let them air dry in a cool, dry place, okay? Then once they've had an opportunity to dry all the way, then what you'll want to do is you'll want to take your nifty little nubuck block and suede brush that comes in your kit and try and remove any of the crustiness that happens. It will happen from your footbed, okay? So what you'll want to do is you'll probably want to take the bristle side that has the wire bristles and just kind of rough it up as best you can, just to just remove the crustiness as best you can.
That will get up a lot of the surface dirt.
Yeah, so you've helped yourself clean your shoes. But then also make sure that you do not use this brush on any of your oiled leather surfaces, your nubuck surfaces, or your washed leather surfaces, because it will leave scratch marks on them, and you don't want that, okay? With your synthetic uppers, it's cool. You don't really need to do anything with that. Maybe you want to take the brush to the underside of them, that's wool felt that you can see here, to try and remove some of that crustiness, but don't do anything to the top.
But the uppers, if you're going to use something on the uppers, you want to use maybe t-shirt material and just damp.
Yeah, damp. And then if you're needing a little bit more, you can use 409 or Simple Green. But if
you dilute it.
Yes, do that. Don't go hardcore with it. As you can see in our demo shoe here, this has probably been wet a couple of times, and we can see what's happened with the cork. This has been heat damaged, right? But your cork here, you want to make sure that has been, you've dried it as best you possibly can. But if you're still feeling like it's hard and crusty, take it to a Birkenstock store that does repairs nearest you and have them take a look at it, give you their professional opinion. If you don't have one near you, you can always send them to us, and we'll absolutely give you our professional opinion on what you should be doing next.
And we'll always look for color on your cork. Orange, although it's a nice color in a lot of things, on your cork, it is not.
No, that is not the business at all. If it's flaking away, that's not good. So in cases like that, we would recommend doing a recraft, which is where we take your straps off, put it on brand new footbed, brand new sole. So that's what to do if they get wet. If you guys have any further questions, please feel free to comment below, and we'll get right back to you. Hey guys, so our next question comes from Melissa G. And she says, I honestly thought the footprint in the footbed was just a natural part of the shoes adjusting to your feet, which it totally is. I don't put lotion on my feet very often, and my footbeds get slick within a week of purchase usually. That happens if you are a heavy sweater. If it's hotter outside, sometimes people just get that footprint a lot faster than other people.
It's body chemistry. We can't control it.
Yeah. And then I guess my feet are really sweaty. Gross. Yeah, sometimes that's just the situation. And we talked about Soxsols before. That's a great option. We'll have the link below for you so you can get those. And then you said, I have a pair of Arizonas that got really muddy all over. Can you give me tips on how to clean the entire shoe? The mud has been dried on them for almost a year because I didn't know what to do about it.
Okay. So first things first, if the mud has been dried on for a year, there's a possibility that that's really not coming out. Usually we would suggest things like a reline, which means, especially with the Arizona style, they have straps that we can completely open up and take off the liner. But in that case, it might just be better to get a full recraft. If you have a color like a brown or a black, sometimes you weigh the options of whether or not a recraft is for you. But a lot of times they have sentimental value, so it comes in very handy.
Yeah. So the 3 other shoes that we have on the table, I have 2 of the Gizas and then 1 of the Mayari. These cannot be relined, actually for 2 reasons. So the ones with the toe pieces, we can't reline those. I mean, we have to take the shoe completely apart in order to be able to even get to the liner. So in that case, you'd have to do a recraft on those. Also, this particular Giza, my pink one, that one has a soft footbed. Soft footbeds cannot be relined. So again, you'd have to do a recraft in a situation like that.
The main reason why, like I say, Arizonas are available for that reline is because they completely open up. And again, with an Arizona, if it has a soft footbed, that will not be available for a reline because of that liner underneath. Because of it having that latex foam, that will come up with the liner, and that could compromise the feel of the shoe.
Yeah, we don't want to do that. So, Melissa, if you would like to send your shoes to us, you're totally more than welcome to. We can give you our professional opinion, or you can even, anytime, any of you can always email us with your questions. So you can send us pictures of your shoes, and we can give you an idea of what can be done with your shoes.
She took the words literally out of my brain and into her mouth.
So you can email them to tnt@desertbirkenstock.com. You can comment with more questions below. We're totally more than happy to answer those questions for you because it also helps other viewers. So we really, really appreciate you guys asking these questions. And then, like I said, if you guys have shoes that you want us to take a look at, you can send them to us. You go to desertbirkenstock.com and you look at the shoe care and repair tab. We'll get that link below for you. And you can send us your shoes, and that way we can give you the best possible option that's there for you.
Don't throw them away right away. They may be salvageable.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks. Okay, so our next question comes from Allison V. She says, how do I take off the stain repellent from my footbed?
Well, let's remind you that stain repellent is for your straps. You don't want to seal the footbed, but we've had it happen, so no worries. The best way to remove it is to start with your nubuck, block, and brush, which we have here. Use that brush to get up as much of the surface stuff as you can, because most likely the oils in your foot will get everything else up, but this is a great way to start. But we can't stress it enough that this water and stain repellent, it's just for your straps. It makes it so much easier to clean up later.
Yep, so things you can do is you can open up the straps, flip your shoe upside down like on the Arizona. You can open that up all the way, flip it upside down and spray your straps that way. Or you can lay a piece of newspaper or paper towel in your footbed.
You just want to make sure you don't get that footbed. You can even do t-shirt material. It leaves less fibers.
This is true. So yeah, just make sure that you're using the stain repellent on the straps only, but don't freak out if you get it on your footbed, seriously, because it's one of those things you need to reapply anyways. So just try and get up as much as you can with the brush that you have in your kit, and then you should be fine after that. Like, don't stress out about it. You'll be all right.
And a little note, when I personally use nubuck and stain repellent, I use it the night before, so that way it gives it a full amount of time to dry, because sometimes it takes about 24 hours to really set in the straps. So I'll usually do it the night before, and then the next morning when I'm ready to wear them, they're ready to go.
Yep, and I can't stress it enough, don't forget to read the instructions that are on the back of the bottle. Like, it says don't saturate it, you just want to do a light spray back and forth. Like, just make sure you're reading the instructions on your bottles. If you guys have any questions about how to use these products, you can email us at tnt@desertbirkenstock.com. You can call us at 702-638-8008.
Or 702-454-0114.
Yep, we are here to help, and if you can leave a comment below, we'll absolutely answer those questions as well. All right, guys. Thanks.
We have a question from YouTuber Devin Beach, and it states, help! I put cork sealer on my footbed. How do I get it off or fix it?
Well, okay. Here's the situation with the cork seal. It does not belong on the footbed. And here's why. So when you have a newer footbed like this one, usually the suede comes pretty textured. when you seal that with the cork sealant, it keeps all of those fibers in that place, and then it becomes super, super sharp sandpaper, and you put your foot in here and it will cut your foot up. So do not use your cork sealer in the footbed ever, ever, ever.
It is only for the exposed cork.
This part here. It's only for this part here. We have a video that shows you how to do this. We'll absolutely have the link below so that way you can see how to do that. But in this case, okay, so what happened, lesson learned, but what can sometimes happen is we can try to do a reline. And a reline is where we take the suede liner that's in here and we remove it and put a brand new one in. However, there are a few cases where we cannot do that.
If you have a Arizona style with a soft footbed, it cannot be done because once we take the liner up, the latex foam that's underneath comes with it, and that is not replaceable.
And then it'll make it all like dippy. You don't want a dippy Birkenstock. No. Also, can't do it on these styles. Anything with a toe piece, we'd have to take the shoe completely apart in order to be able to remove the footbed from this general vicinity here. So that at that point, you have to do a recraft. So in the case of a soft footbed or a toe piece, recraft is your only option.
But if you have a regular Arizona that's a classic bed, there may be hope ahead.
Okay. That being said, yes, a reline is possible. However, here's how this works. What we do is we put a adhesive remover that saturates the leather, and then it saturates the adhesive that's underneath the leather. However, if you've just now sealed that footbed, that product that we use to try and remove that adhesive is not going to be able to penetrate the leather, so we can no longer do a reline. So in some cases, most cases. So just worst case scenario, you're probably looking at a recraft or a brand new Birkenstock. But you can always send them to us and we can look at them, see what's going on. In these kinds of situations, it's better if we can feel and touch and see the actual Birkenstock. So pictures don't always help in this type of situation. We kind of need to see them. You can get all that information in the link below on how to send those to us. But yeah, just really, really try not to get that on your footbeds. When you're putting your cork seal on and it gets on the footbed a little bit, wipe it up really, really fast. Because at that point, it's still able to be removed to a certain extent. But once it's dried, it's done. There's no coming out. I mean, you can try sandpaper, but really, it's not gonna bring it up.
But don't let that discourage you from bringing it into a professional to seeing exactly what it is that we can do for you.
Absolutely. So try and see if there's someone that's in your area that can help you that does Birkenstock repairs. If there's no one close to you, absolutely send them to us and we'll see what we can do to try and help.
Our next question comes from Allison Dandria, and she states, I have a pair of tobacco oil leather clogs that was rained on and they have some black spots. What do I do?
Okay, so with any of the oil leathers with water spots, I personally would recommend using your nifty little nubuck block. Okay, so use this to try and soften the edges of those water droplets, just the circles. You kind of want to use it like a feathering situation, so you don't want to leave rectangles of areas where you've erased it. So you just want to do more of like buffing motions, I guess. And then what you want to do is you want to take your leather oils or your leather lotions and massage it into the leather and try and just even out the skin tone. I'm not doing makeup right now. I'm talking about shoes.
But it is leather, so let's be real. Leather is skin.
It is. So you just want to be really mindful that you're not leaving really hard lines of demarcation when you're trying to remove the spots. And then just make sure that you go back over it with your water and stain repellent so that way you're protecting it from happening in the future. If it's super bad, you can absolutely bring the shoes to us, send the shoes to us, send us pictures. You can email them to tnt@desertbirkenstock.com. We can take a look and give you our best advice on how to handle that.
The best way to do it is if you're anywhere near one of our stores, bring them in so we can actually see what's going on.
Absolutely. Thanks for your question. Okay, so our next question comes from J.T. Sieber, I just bought a pair of oiled leather Bostons. It looks like it is brand new old stock as the leather looks very dry and dull. His question is, can I use mink oil to treat and moisturize the leather?
Actually, mink oil is good to moisturize the leather. However, you want to be mindful of the color and leather that you have. If it's something lighter like tobacco, I wouldn't necessarily use it because it can darken the leather. But if you have like a black, it should be totally fine.
Black or even Habana. So this color here, this is Habana.
Yeah, this is a shade of Habana. They come in many
shades. Please hold.
There's melanin in it.
This is also Habana. Mm-hmm. So if you want, if it's looking dry and dull like this one here, then you can absolutely use this dark, or use it to darken it up like this. Mm-hmm. Same thing with the black. That's totally fine. But when you do it on tobacco, I feel like leather oil is better for tobacco because it's not quite as, it doesn't saturate it quite as much.
It makes the color a little weird. Granted, a lot of tobaccos this year have been coming in some interesting shades of brown, but I would still suggest using an oil over a regular oiled leather restorer than a mink oil for something of that color.
Absolutely. Then he also asks, so he goes on to say, I understand mink oil will soften the leather. Will it soften it too much that the Boston will lose its rocket-like front shape? And I'm going to show you what he's talking about if you're not familiar with the Boston. So the shape that he is talking about is this shape that's right here.
The cool thing about a Birk is you're not going to lose that wonderfully round toe shape.
Yeah.
Oh,
sorry.
It's just, I haven't seen it change shape, and I've been here for a while.
Yeah, it's like the way that they have done the leather in here is they've reinforced this toe right here to not lose this shape. Like, that's not something that will happen naturally. So, I mean, unless you like drive over it with a car, I don't see this changing its shape at all. So you can absolutely use it to soften your oiled leathers, such as...
Again, just be mindful of the color.
Yeah, this one you can totally use your mink oil on that. Because you can see this is a little bit on the more chalky side. Some people like it because it pulls more blue tones. But if you use a heavier oil, like a mink oil, or even Vaseline, which we've shown you how to do on your oiled leather straps, it'll make this really deep, dark, and like a rich color, but it's not going to affect the shape of your Boston. All right, I think that pretty much answers your question. If you guys have any more questions regarding that, you can totally leave a comment here, or you can email us.
We are totally here to help.
Absolutely. Thanks for your question. Okay, so our next question comes from Jessie M. We've got a two-part question here. So, first part is, how to clean the brush once you clean the footbed? Just soap and water and then air dry for the next cleaning?
Jessie, you are a genius, because that's exactly what you do. Mild soap and water, let it air dry.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Okay, gold star for you. So the next question, the wording was a little wonky here, so give me just a second. Another issue or cleaning question, how to not have brown feet on a daily basis from the bottoms of the Birkenstocks. Okay, so then it goes on to say, I have to clean my feet after wearing, but curious, is there something to do or apply to the footbed? Kind of a hassle.
Let's see. One of my favorite things to apply to a footbed when you're having problems is a Soxsol.
These things are like the best thing ever. Y'all have been buying these up like crazy, and these are awesome. So, okay, we also had another question that was not the nicest, so I took it down because it wasn't very polite. However, I'm going to address the question. The question is, why would anybody buy these? Okay, well, people buy these Soxsols for many reasons. Exactly what Jessie was just asking. Like, your feet get dirty. You don't want that. So you put the liner in the footbed.
The liner is made of wool, and some of them do have cotton, which means that you can pull them up, you can throw them in the wash, and let them air dry. It's like wearing a sock without wearing a sock, because you got to remember, people, we have body chemistry that doesn't always gel with every material.
Right. And then some people just absolutely do not like to have their footprint in the bottom of their Birkenstock. They just don't like it. So this prevents that from happening. And then some people just have stinkier feet than others. And that's just a thing that happens, and it's no fault of your own. Like, don't ever feel bad because you have stinky feet. There's nothing that you can do about that, and you didn't do anything to cause it.
Again, I say body chemistry.
Yeah.
Google it.
Yeah. So these are awesome to prevent these types of things from happening, okay? But then also, there's a video that we did on how to clean your footbeds, which is where we're answering all these questions from. So you can use your cleaner and refresher. You can saturate the footbed with that, scrub it up with your little brush. Okay, you don't even necessarily have to go the saturation way. You can just use your nubuck block and your bristles just to kind of pull up some of the dirt that's there, so that way it's kind of removing some of what's causing the funk. But just know that like this is just a natural part of the Birkenstocks, and some people just react a little bit different than others. So don't feel bad and don't get frustrated. Like there's ways of being able to prevent these types of things, and we're here for you if you guys have any questions.
You don't want to give up something that's comfortable over something that's minor, right?
Right. I feel like that's minor. Thanks for the question, Jessie. Okay, so we're just going to address this question only because Hello Moto wants to know, so you can't spray the footbed with the stain repellent? Absolutely not. However,
not a good idea.
If it happens, it's okay. Like, it's super okay. Like, don't stress out about it. We answered this in another question earlier. All you gotta do is just use your nubuck block and your suede brush to try and get that up. And then over time, it's gonna go away. So, like, you don't need to worry about it.
Right.
And, like, you have to reapply the stuff anyway. So, again, just, like, don't freak out about it. If you got it, like, super saturated, just use your nubuck block and your brush and just get it up. But we just had to answer the question because... Hello, Moto! All right, so our next question kind of tacks on to other questions that we've answered already. It comes from Ruth Salinas. What is the water and stain repellent for then, and where do you apply it?
Well, water and stain repellent is for your straps. It helps with cleanup a lot later on. Makes it a little less abrasive.
Yeah, so you want to use it on not synthetic. This is a synthetic. You don't need it on this because this is vinyl. This upper is called Birkofloor. Don't need it. You just don't, because it's vinyl with wool felt underneath here. You don't need to seal that at all. That's super unnecessary. You'll want to use it on your nubucks and your washed leather and your oiled leathers.
So in conclusion, it's leathers. Use it on your natural leathers. It makes for much easier cleanup later. Absolutely.
It's like your Scotch Guard, but it's developed specifically for the Birkenstocks by Birkenstock.
This question is from YouTuber Missing Toyon, and it states, do you use the nubuck block and then use the cleaner and conditioner product? Or is it either or?
Okay, so I think it really kind of depends on the stain. Personally, I would go in with the nubuck block first to see what I can pull up. Then I would go ahead and use a cleaning product to go with it. Just because you don't want to turn what is already there into a sludge. Does that make sense? So what you'll do is you'll take your nubuck block, take this side first. It's like an eraser, just like a pencil eraser.
Awesome eraser.
Yeah, and you're just gonna get in there and scrub it off. Okay, and then depending on what surface we're using this on, then you'll use the brush side. If something has spilled on the strap of your shoes, like these particular ones, so I have nubuck, washed leather, and oiled leather, don't use this side because it will scratch it up because there's metal bristles in here. You don't want to do that.
That's when you can actually pull out the old t-shirt material. That will leave less fibers and will allow you to get up some of the surface stuff.
Absolutely. So if it's on your footbed, though, absolutely go for it with this part of the brush. It's the suede brush. Go for it. If it's a suede leather, obviously you can use your suede brush. That's not a problem. But then if that's kind of causing a problem, especially in your footbed, if it's causing a problem and you're not getting up what you need to, then you can go ahead and start using some of your cleaner and refresher, and use your brush along with that to try and work up some of the gunk that's there. But you can do it either way. I just prefer to go dry first because you just don't want to turn it into a sludgy mess.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So thank you so much for your question.
Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. It's here.
I think it's...
maybe it's there.
What is it?
It's there? Is it red? It's red. Red's a good color.
Hit the red button.
Hit it.
And don't forget the bell. Ding-a-ding-a-ding. So then you know that we've made a video just for you.